Now we have Stefano Landi, who comes from the Observatory for the fight against sexual abuse of minors in the tourist sector.
Buongiorno a tutti.
Good morning, everyone. I wanted to say something. Our knowledge is not better than the one that you have individually. It's the sum of everybody's knowledge put together as a summary. We have cooperated with the Italian bilateral tourist board to build an annual observatory of law number 269 against sexual tourism with sexual exploitation of minors, to extend it to all European countries. I underline this to say that we cannot be so specific as specific as you are, but we just wanted to make a comparison of all the existing data. I go back to what Lucia Anila said yesterday, going through the results of the last 4 years, and I'll try to illustrate very briefly the results concerning the observatory in 2013. In 2012, sorry. In 2013, 2013 is our 5th year, and we are analyzing the relationship between the lack of intermediation and the vacations and holidays in Italy. In Italy, the law is applied to traditional operators, and it doesn't touch on the online operators. So we analyzed online travel agencies in Europe and throughout the world, also because there is no nationality online. One can operate throughout the world remotely, and then we'll see what happens there too. And we put together the various surveys, the various results of the various category associations of traditional tour operator, and in particular, we're working with ECTA, that's one of the partners of our project. We carried out interviews and analysis of information from Interpol and other police forces, and we are concluding the update of the implementation of the EU directive that should bring about some tangible actions, but we haven't got the feel of it yet. So from this viewpoint, we will talk about what's changing and how it's changing in the holiday and travel market in Europe. We have information concerning all 27 EU countries carried out by Eurobarometer, so it's EU money. And so it tells us that the internet, 50% of the modalities of holiday organizations is carried out through the internet. It doesn't mean the purchasing of holidays. It means gathering information or purchase of parts of holidays. We will make the distinction later because it's important. Travel agencies are on the decrease. This is 2012, so the latest year available. So travel agencies are about 19%, and there are there's a strong tradition of locally purchased. So they go abroad and they find there where to sleep, etc. And then 6% of transport companies, it's flexible. You can buy a complete holiday from Ryanair's portal, Alitalia's portal, etc. You can go to a carrier's portal and you buy either flight or the transport, and then you can buy the other services. These flexible systems account for 6% of the market. Excuse me, the comment was made off mic. so it cannot be translated. Well, I'm just going to mention some cases. The passage from the physical organization of travels, so tour operator that has an office or headquarters, to the online purchase, leads to phenomena that are not taken into consideration. The first of these phenomena is that there is no point of reference with the legislation of a country that is applicable. It may seem strange, but I'll give you an example. There's a large tour operator in Europe and in the world that's called QCNS, and it is the world leader of cruise purchases. This tour operator has headquarters in the Principality of Monaco and has offices in Morocco and Madagascar. So if an Italian citizen is buying a cruise, he's buying it not according to the Italian nor the European laws. So these tour operators do not respond to the report in terms of contracts to the EU contracts. So these workers are not safeguarded by the rules and regulations in terms of labor. So I opened a parenthesis on cruises, where with the bilateral body, we worked with it a lot. Some of the forecasts we had made last year as well on the evolution of cruises in the world and European market are taking place right now. The fact that there are no regulations on the safeguard of workers and as a consequence on the passengers. We have seen about a year ago where a ship crashed and sank, and the personnel did not have the ability to speak the language of the passengers. Last week, for example, in Rome, the capital of Italy's second port for cruises in the Mediterranean, have become a matter for civil protection because as they have the possibility to welcome even 10 cruise ships, 300 buses blocked the whole circulation in the city of Rome. There are no regulations that can prevent an American cruise ship like Carnival or Costa to bring as many people as they want, wherever they want, with the means of transport that they want. But this has become, this was forecast, and it took place. So, with reference to the use of the internet on the one hand and the distance of travel. I am giving you this example because it looks interesting to see. You see, there's an area up there, the maximum use of the internet and maximum length of the travel, and then over here, minimal use of the internet and minimal length of the travel. If we imagine that the sexual tourism that exploits minors takes advantage of the internet and goes long range, the offender countries are up there. Whereas if we imagine that within the same process to the other end of offender countries we have victim countries, we find them there below. This takes place a lot. These two elements should be taken into consideration: range of the travel, the distance, and the use of the internet. We think that the internet is becoming the new frontier without rules. Who are the subjects who work on the internet and sell holidays on the internet? We did a survey. We found 68 of them. They're either Europe-based, according to European law, or extra-European law operating in Europe. Something curious, just for your information, is that these 68 subjects that apparently represent the best of internal competition, they give rise to holding companies. 6 blocks already control 2/3 of the market. So all this wonder of competition is an element of concentration, and in which those who should control with the eye of the market and the consumer is bought out by the big ones, by the big enterprises, and it's controlled by them. Some call them neutrality at risk. I think that these are new prospects for the market. So we believe that someone is giving us objective information. Actually, they are giving us a targeted information to make us buy something. I'm going to the TripAdvisor's Orbit, Saber Holding, and Saber Holding is the last one because it's very interesting. So we went into these 6 groups, and all 68 companies that are part of them. We wanted to see whether they applied any regulations on minor safeguard in their operations. The thing is that social responsibility, corporate social responsibility stops at the level of the corporate level. It's only the 6 main brands, with an exception that we'll see in a bit, that have corporate social responsibility. All their subsidiary companies don't care about this. So physically, the holding companies say that they comply with a series of regulations. They have their consultants write down the books of corporate social responsibility, but in their operations, nobody cares about that. And as you can see, I don't know whether ECPAT analysis will correspond. These are potential offenders, not potential victims. They are on the demand markets for long-range travelers. These are all the lists. None of these companies implements in their home pages and websites any protection for children from sexual exploitation. None of them. Only Sabre, but we'll get there in a minute. I am stopping here because this is a summary of the work that we have done throughout the years with the bilateral bodies. Let's start from the bottom. In 2011, 78% of outgoing operators in Italy implemented the law. Not all of them, even though it's mandatory. At least 78% implemented the law, applied the law. So they declared in their home pages and in their paper catalogs that sexual tourism that offends minors is a crime that can be pursued also in the country of origin and not only in the country where the crime is perpetrated. This is according to the Italian law. When we looked for a corresponding entity in Europe where this law is not there, we have 22% in 2012. And when we looked for this in OLTAs, we reached only 5%. Only 5% of the OLTAs say this to their customers. They're all Italy-based, and they follow the Italian law. So outside Italy, none of the OLTAs applies any form of protection. Sabre Holding is the exception. It's one of the smaller ones, but not less important. They have a corporate policy concerning their subsidiaries. It's called Passport to Freedom, as it actively involves ECPAT. Probably this is that their philosophy is better travel, better words. In their corporate social responsibility policy, there is the protection element, will end human trafficking and exploitation of children. So this is all that we pursue with great dedication, and it's contained in one of the altars. At least they say they do. They do it in certain ways. They have rules, they have internal training, so there's a dedicated attention. The fact that ECPAT and the code.org that work on it, of course, this leads to this type of attention. I would like to continue with reference to the topic of disintermediation and talk to you about what ECTA does, the European Category Association of Travel Agencies. So it's not 100% of the market, but it's a declining market segment. So ECTA had its impact on it because there were memorandums of understanding signed many years ago, and many of the associations, especially in potentially offender countries, but not only those, signed ECPAT's Code of Conduct. And I wanted to mention, that's why I said that you know this information better than I do, a series of other category associations put into practice other national initiatives with campaigns, everything that was in their power to do. So at this juncture, I'm just going to briefly mention them: France, Sweden, Austria, Belgium, Germany, UK, etc. Another element, and I'm about to conclude, of our work concerned a request for information to Interpol and national police forces. And they, for example, child protection certificate from the UK has been mentioned to you, and they will be part of our final analysis. This analysis is about to conclude. It's going to end in 2013 with the study of the impact of the EU directive, and it will lead to comparison with the previous editions. This is the last concept that I would like to share with you. I would like to underline that, unfortunately, both at the national level, in Italy, for example, there is precise regulations that dictate commitments both at the European level, where there is a directive that should be implemented by all member countries. What happens is that after the formal act, what is missing is the verification of the effects of this action, of this act. So that's why independent bodies such as ours are needed, and that's why once a good principle is expressed, we should be consistent in the implementation of the principle itself. Thank you.